everyone. I'm delighted to be joined today by violinist Harriet Mackenzie and choreographer Julien Guérin, who are the creative force behind a project that was co-commissioned by Wiltshire Creative, Art House Jersey, and Liberation International Music Festival. Wiltshire Creative were due to premiere Bach and Ballet as part of the International Festival this year, but sadly this had to be cancelled. So Harriet, I'd love if you could start us off by telling us about the original collaboration and what was the inspiration behind the piece.
Well, the inspiration for this piece came for me, first of all, from the music. So this was a work based on Bach's D minor partita for solo violin, which is, if not considered the pinnacle really of violin playing, and perhaps one of the pinnacles of man's creations. It's an extraordinary work. It's emotionally, technically, spiritually, incredibly demanding and very, very moving. And it had been a dream of mine to have modern choreography put to this work. Every movement in it is actually inspired by dance anyway, so it seemed to just lend itself to have dance put with it. And Julien, his choreography is so incredible. And for me, when I was looking at choreography and looking at the way different people work, what struck me about Julien's work is the way that he responds to the music. Often I was seeing things that, you know, may have been visually incredible and technically incredible by the dancers, but for me there was a disconnect with what was happening musically and what was happening on the stage. And then I saw Julien's work and there was such an incredible connection with those things. And so I was so excited to be playing this incredible music with this incredible choreographer and an amazing ballet company. So that's the idea in a nutshell.
Fantastic. And can you remind us where it was intended to play?
So we were really excited that we were going to be, of course, premiering it at the Salisbury Festival. And then we were also going to be performing it at the Jersey International Liberation Festival in the Royal Opera House. And then, you know, a life after that.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Julien, perhaps you could let us know who would be performing, who were the dancers?
The dancers are quite, first of all, I want to say thank you, Harriet, for the words you said about my work. It really goes to my heart, because I want to relate to that, because I'm really a lover of music, of classical music. And it's very important in my work, in my choreographic work, that my gesture, my movements are really connected to the music, to the sounds, what I hear. And I really love that relationship. So in my work, it's really important that I really connect and I don't do any description, any distortion between music and dance. For me, it goes into one, like fusion. So thank you, Harriet, for that. And then to come back to the dancers, they're all from different areas. Beryl, she's from Paris Opera Ballet School. Bérangère, she's from National Ballet School of Marseille. Sylvain is French from, I don't know the school, but he's been doing stuff in Château de Versailles for Baroque Ballet. I mean, they have quite different horizons. And they're very versatile. And I had to choose 6 of them, not the whole company, for this piece, Partita number 2. And for the video we made, I took every dancer, but for the original commission, it was with 6 dancers.
And so had you already started to choreograph the piece, and had you already started the rehearsals with all those dancers?
I didn't start the rehearsals because actually the lockdown came at the moment I was supposed to go there and start. I had Harriet on the phone, then we talked about the meaning of the piece, of the music of Bach. And then I was trying to imagine an abstract ballet but like with some intentions, like to express what was it about. And then Harriet gave me all this indication about the historical piece of the music when Bach composed it. And then I was like, because me, in my mind, I visualize a lot of things with the dancers, not already in the studio, but I could see trios, duets, and ensemble, and I could see a solo, like, because there is different, how do you say, different parts, movement in the music, exactly, sorry. And then when Harriet came with that meanings of the rebirth of something, celebrating a tribute to life, like you lose someone, but then you have to go forward and to live with that and to give a beautiful tribute. It was really inspiring to me, and I was writing down a lot of ideas about the dancing, and unfortunately didn't start in the studio yet.
In fact, I was due to go to the south of France and to meet Julien in person, and we were going to work together. So we're hoping that that's still going to happen. But it was wonderful that we could talk over the phone and discuss all of this stuff, and it was wonderful to have such a connection with Julien, and both of us be able to have this dialogue about the work.
Yes, and obviously in terms of your decision to obviously continue, as you say, that dialogue and to create the video, which of course we'll talk about a little bit later. What was the idea around that, and why did you decide to take that into the project?
If I can leap in there, I think, just to put it in context, I guess, for everyone who's listening, it was quite confusing when lockdown happened for a while, because we had lots of discussions. Do you think the festival's happening? Do you think it's not happening? What should we do? Should we continue preparing? I think we just do what we can and see what happens. And you know, we continue discussing and hoping that everything might be fine. Of course it wasn't, and we just had to go along with what was happening around the world. And so there was a lot of confusion for us, not knowing with all of our work, to be honest. And then I think when things just started shutting down, it was very hard as artists. I mean, I even went for a concert in Spain that didn't happen. And then we had to go back. So, you know, things were really unsure. And then it left us feeling very unstable, you know, without knowing what we were working towards. You know, worries financially, also to not know what deadlines one is working towards. When you've got this kind of impetus of a performance, it's something that is gives you inspiration. And so suddenly all of these things were taken from underneath our feet. And Julien and I were also discussing all of that and how we were feeling. And so when things finally did get, you know, cancelled for sure, we had a few phone calls where we were just kind of commiserating together. And then we started, you know, still talking about the piece and how it seemed to even be more relevant. And one of the things about this piece, which Julien touched on, is that Bach wrote it the year that his wife died. He came back from a trip and he hadn't seen her for many months. He arrived back at his door to find out that his wife had died. He hadn't even known. And this year he writes this monumental work for violin. And through, you know, analysis and through history and through, we can see that he wrote messages in the work about her, messages about the resurrection. He quotes from his own work, from the Matthew Passion, about rebirth and life, and there's so much in this incredible work. And we started thinking about, you know, how he was trying to write something for somebody who was gone, who was trying to touch her, and there was all of these constraints put on all of us, not being able to touch our loved ones, not being able to reach them, being in different countries, and so it seemed to just have this incredible relevance. And so we decided just to see if there was something we could do from our respective lockdowns in different countries using technology. So that was how it came about.
And Julien, why for you was that so important?
I would say exactly the same as Harriet, but I would add that for me to be in a lockdown, and I have so many friends and artists around me, and being locked like artists, some people felt like unuseful, or can I say unuseful, useless, you know. And I think to do this video and to work, even if it's like through internet, Harriet started to record on this beautiful landscape on the beach in Greece. Then I received that video and it really touched my heart. I was in tears listening to her music, and I was like, yes, we have to do things. And then I called all these dancers and said, would you being part of this, you know, like just to show that we can still do something even we feel we're locked, we're stuck in our flats, and maybe make the arts live and dance and music, we can make something of it. And as the music is about the rebirth, a tribute to life, and people are dying every day, I can see like people struggling with this virus. It was even more meaningful to do this. And I think it was quite even more for me unexpected and exciting in a way that we were so all disconnected from the kilometers away from people, like Harriet in Greece, me in France, dancers somewhere else, and we all came together. And I, for my part, I taught the phrase one by one through Zoom, and selected the part of the music when you will be on, and then with Virginie Lopez we did this montage of video, and wow, I mean, I think it was really meaningful to me, and to show to people that can access to this festival, even if it's cancelled, there is still hope, and it can still happen, and it's just a period, definite period, but it's not for lifetime. Life goes on and will always go on. So it was something very positive, and something to show that art is not something very like just for fun or just for entertainment. No, art is to make people like, to educate people, to share emotions to people, to move people, and to raise people, human, you know, spiritually. So I think it's really important, and I'm really proud. And Harriet, I'm sure you too. You're very proud, but I'm very touched and very proud of this project already with this video.
Yeah, me too. And I think one of the things we also both of us felt was that one of the problems with us being locked as artists, but also with so many people being isolated, and that the loneliness was such a problem. And this piece also kind of is about that, somebody having lost someone. And so we kind of felt that maybe through this piece, maybe we could reach people, maybe through this piece of art, that could also strike a chord with people who were feeling isolated, who were feeling a bit lost, and it could express that in some way.
Exactly.
And it sounds like, you know, it was a challenge to create this piece, wasn't it? A different challenge than perhaps if you were stood in the same theatre and making work on the stage. How were those challenges for you? You know, presumably, you know, teaching the dancers in their kitchens, you know, would have had its own challenges, but perhaps you can tell us about some of those.
I would say first that, for example, dance is in 3D. You need to see the people, to feel the emotions, the sensation. We use a lot of intuitions. When I choreograph, I use that. I need to feel the person visually, to have my whole sense, you know, worked up. You say like, yeah, exactly. To feel exactly like the emotions going to go through to the dancer, and then to see, like, with the computer, the screen, it's only 2Ds, and you see the delay with the music sometimes because of the internet connection, which is not really good. So it's quite like difficult. And it was my first experience through the web like this, and it's quite interesting. And maybe in the future it will be some more project like that. But there is nothing best than in real life, in a real studio, and to work with the artists in a real, the same place. But it was quite challenging, and I must say that at the end, it really, I think people were even more devoted in the will to do it well, because the 2D, the video shuts down a lot of things somehow. You know, you only see the bodies, but you see less the emotion through a video. I don't know, recording music sometimes, you know, in a concert, in a live music concert, you have more.
There's a frisson in the air that you can't.
Something that we call that the magic, and in the video sometimes it shuts it down, it erase a bit. So.
Also, Julien, you're amazing. You're wonderful dancers. They also had constraints that they didn't have sprung floors, so they couldn't use.
Couldn't use point shoes. Yeah, I would do duets really, but they were one by one in their flat with no sprung floor. The girl said, "Don't put your point shoes because you're gonna twist your foot. You know, it's dangerous. It's slippery if it's like wood floor. I don't know." Like, so we tried the best. I said, find a place where you can be to work, which is according to the law, you know, because with the French government said to go out, you need a paper, you know, attestation and everything. So people try to find.
We were both in two of the strictest places, being in Greece and being in France. We had the most restrictions, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how you managed to be on the beach, because in France, in Menton, I have the beach. I couldn't go, Harriet, actually. It was
They lifted the restrictions, but for a long time you couldn't go on the beach. They banned it. So it was lucky that had just lifted.
Yeah.
But for me also, I had no good equipment with me. I have like a really terrible phone with really terrible sound, and I didn't have a tripod. My husband had to just come with me and just hold this my phone really still for the piece, and because it was Greece, of course, it's really, really hot, so we got up at dawn to be able to film outside before it got too hot for my violin, because my violin was made in 1730. Of course, I have to take care of it, and it doesn't like being in very, very hot, strong sunlight. And so, you know, I did the best I could. We went to a really beautiful place, and because there was no people around, so we did have an incredible landscape to work with. Obviously, no acoustic, but you know, I think that what is amazing is those constraints during this time. I think that makes it all even more moving in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that, you know, and again, we'll be putting that video at the end of this video so that audiences can watch it if they haven't seen it. And I think what's lovely is that, as you say, you know, it's raw in that way, you know. I think that's beautiful, and I think it absolutely captures the energy of the piece, and seeing the dancers, you know, that their emotions do really come across. And as you say, Julien, you know, perhaps they're working in a different way and much harder in that way to make sure that emotion can come across. So there's obviously a lot of talk at the moment and now about how we use this opportunity to adapt our processes and our practice and our form for when we're able to reopen again and make work again. Do you think there are lessons that you have taken perhaps from making work like this that you might take forward?
Well, for me, I think one of the lessons I've really learned is that although this was such a wonderful project to do, and I'm so thrilled to have done it, for me, nothing replaces the live experience. And I think that's been brought home to me even more. Just, you know, there's been such incredible offerings of national theatre and ballet and concerts and everything, and how lucky we are to have had that. But at the same time, for me, I love being there in that moment and not seeing things through a screen, and being part of that as a performer, but being part of it as an audience as well. So I think I hadn't even really realized that as much, just how precious that experience is. So I'm really taking that with me.
But actually, I would say the same. Like, I wouldn't expect to do something through video like that, and I wouldn't expect that the COVID-19 would come. You know, I was quite in shock when it happened, and I think we always find a way when there is passion and commitment and love for what we do, and we want to share it to the world, to others. Like, really. Honestly, we want to share it, and we will always find a way. And this video is an example that that we always find a way, even with the restrictions. And what I would learn about it, it's like concerning technically the ballet, I was saying to Fiona a bit before, to work in a little space like that, in a way, dancers find that they could work more their centers, like to be on the supporting legs, be stronger, because you cannot move side to side, you cannot travel because you're really restrained. So you always, you're stuck, and then you have to work more your center to be more under yourself and pull up, pull up. So there is always positivity to work in a little thing. Sometimes you find other sensations for your body to be more stable on arabesque, attitude, on one leg. Well, I'm talking about technical stuff, but I would say if I had to keep the positive about working in a small flat or in a small place, even if it's less, if it's not with the sprung floor and girls with the point shoes for ballet dancers, at least we find some good things about it. Voilà.
I would say that one of the things that I take from this conversation is that collaboration is so important and so key, I think, in this piece, but also in something that I think we can take forward from, you know, when we're in a post-COVID world, because I think that actually by showing that, you know, this is a cross art form piece, this is two worlds colliding in a way, but actually there's something really beautiful about that, and actually it sounds like we're all learning lots of new things. So I'm really excited by this collaboration, and I'm so pleased that you were able to make the video. As I say, that will be added to the end of this video so that audiences can see it, although I know it has already been shared lots of times. I think in France it's been viewed many thousand times by hopefully lots of the ballet audiences. So I'm thrilled about that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add and say about the video, or about the co-commission in general?
I think I would like to say that it's been such an amazing experience working with Julien, and being able to share this experience with him, and also with the incredible dancers. I was just so moved by what they all did, and I can't wait to work on the piece more and to do all the movements. So this was just, we chose the saraband, with just one movement. The biggest and longest movement of them is the chaconne, but there, you know, the whole piece is just it's just a jewel, and it will be so fantastic to have the whole work have the whole work done, and now even more than ever, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'd like to thank Salisbury as well, and Wiltshire Creative and Jersey for their support as well, because this whole creative project wouldn't have happened without the support from them.
And I would say this video now is a preview of what we really hope to achieve later this season coming, and to really make this project on stage with you, Harriet, on stage with the dancers, and this piece can really exist and live.
No, I agree. I think that there's lots of strength to be found in that, and I'd also just like to say that, you know, I think I really hope that audiences will be able to enjoy the, you know, the experience live at some point one day, because as you've shown, it's a real taster, it's a preview. I think that's a really nice way of kind of framing it, because, you know, there's some really brilliant work there, and I'm sure for all of you to also be in the same room together would be a real treat, and who knows where the project could go then. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about making the video, and I really hope that we all meet again soon.
I hope so.
Hope so too.
Lovely to see you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet. Thank you, Fiona.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.